3. Oh, it was pretty close. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Wes from Perfect Circuit. We're joined here.
Mario from Elektron.
And it's a few days after the launch of the Syntakt. And you know, it's a few days later. I've got some questions. I've had a chance to hang out with this device for like legitimately 2 days now. So we're gonna dive in and kind of just have a little bit more of a laid back talk about some of the features of this device that have got me really excited, and hopefully touch on some of the things that might not have been super clear or obvious in all the buzz and hubbub of a launch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm so glad we could have this conversation because as a lot of you guys are realizing that this Syntakt, this device could get really deep, and there's a lot of different ways you could approach it. There's a lot of different ways you could use the unique features, and even a sound design tool. Just a lot to get into. So yeah, let's talk about some of our favorite stuff.
Hell yeah. Some of the things that have got me like most excited are the modifiers.
Yeah.
Especially these two are very reminiscent of like Octatrack style like scene things, which I think are super duper fun as far as performance and stuff. But like, what's the limit here? Can you use multiple at once? Can you use them on multiple tracks? Like,
yeah, so when it comes to modifiers, only one type of modifier can be used at any given time, but you could use that modifier across several different tracks. So there's different ways. Obviously, you could have this trig set, and now anytime I select it, it's gonna start triggering that. But if I turn this trig off, now depending on which track I press, that's gonna be which modifier is gonna be affecting. But if I hold down this, so that's pretty crazy. If we do something like this, so yeah, there's a lot of different ways you could use it. Multiple tracks could be affected with the retrig, but only one of them could be selected at a time.
yeah, no, I was just thinking of like how these would be super duper effective for like reverb sends or delay sends,
Yeah,
especially doing like the car plus trick with the delay and just like real quick momentary effects. Which maybe then if we're talking about momentary effects, we should just go into like the effects routing and stuff like that. That's just so much fun, man. That's a really... And you can record all of this in like while it's in live record mode, right?
Definitely.
So yeah, that's amazing. Wait, what does that look like? Can you record some stuff in? Like,
yes.
What does it look like? Is it?
Let's see.
Is it like a?
It comes up as a parameter lock. So if you hold it down, you'll see which parameter you're actually affecting. So if I go, so yeah, let's just record in this hi-hat and see how these trigs come up. So if I hold down this trig, I go to retrig, you see that it's turned on 16th notes. This one turned on 32nd notes. So if you do something to the velocity, do that. See that it's affecting that.
Sick. Okay.
So, and then that's going to be the same if you assign that parameter to something, you'll see that there.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Now you could go in there and start copying these trigs. So it actually adds this whole other playability and really starts getting you creating sequences really, really quick.
That's so awesome. I just like, so while you were describing this, I just thought of how cool it would be to set up like these modifiers and just go ham on them, just like continually like loop stuff. And then as soon as you've got like a few good steps, because I do this all the time, like where I'll just play with the controls and then listen back. And then I'll be like, oh, that step's really good. and then I'll just grab it and make a whole pattern from that one group of like parameter lock settings.
Definitely, yeah, and it's great that you mentioned that being able to just assign modifiers and go crazy with it. You could use them in your pattern as like a creative process as you're creating your sequence, but then when you go out and play live, then you're like, all right, I'm gonna change my modifier settings because I wanna have velocity on it or on different destinations. So you could set different settings, and that's something that gets saved per pattern. So depending on which pattern you're at, you have different banks of modifiers.
Yeah, so you can use this as like a totally compositional tool. Like if you want to set this up as like delay, play it in, and then change it to something else and play it in again, you're just gonna be stacking.
Exactly, because it's recording those trigs into the sequence.
It's an amazing take on macros, and I like am already just cooking up new ways of thinking about using it. So. This is fun as heck. And like it's really cool as like just a way to like finger drum like a few different like values or something.
Yeah, and then even just build-ups in general, like if you have my retrig, I'll have this at like 8th notes, and then this one will be 16th notes. And then go into your next theme, build up right there.
Heck yeah. Amazing, I love it. Performance macros, cool stuff. So yeah, let's definitely talk about the effects block stuff. Oh yeah, and then I've spent very little time looking at the mixer there, so that's a good thing to just briefly look at here too. Does that just set it?
That's basically you're going like this.
Oh, okay.
So that's routing it to
pre and post.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Another cool little quick tip on the Syntakt is that there's multiple different places, not many different, there's a couple ways that you could access certain routing on the effects track. If you go to your effects track here, you have the ability to route your tracks, but on any given track, if you go to your amp page, you also have the routing on the amp second page, and then for your internal mixer, those are gonna be on your mixer 3 page.
Which is sick. And I think you just accidentally touched on something that I keep on forgetting about, is this second amp page that's got the ADSR and the AHD.
Yeah, so now you have like, it's really cool, and something that it does, it's like when it's a percussive sound, it'll usually automatically go to that AHD, but when you choose a synth sound, it'll normal to that ADSR. But yeah, it's just another point that you could change how the audio is gonna be reacting to your envelope.
Yeah, well, and it also just it further cements how flexible these machines are, and that like nothing is pigeonholed into like this is just a percussive thing. Definitely. You know, like you could turn claps into greasy leads or like whatever you want.
Into like little, and yeah, I mean it's with the machines that you're using. Of course, they have specialties that they do. So you have like claps and percussive and snares. But my favorite thing is to get like something like this snare. Oh, let me see, clear this. Do this one more time. So in your machines, you have certain machines that are tailored to a specific sound to give you kind of the best sounding parameters for it. But if you go to something like this, go to chromatic mode, out of a snare, now you have like a little marimba flute type thing going on. So the sonic possibilities, the palette that you have is very, very wide. The voices get pretty crazy and pretty strange quick, so it's fun. Before I forget, super great tool, randomize. If you hold any parameter and press yes,
bro, what?
Instant
Yo! I need to reprint these panels and make a little question mark in it. That's sick as fuck, for real.
Yeah, that's a cheat code.
Dude, and I mean, I love that.
For inspiration and then even sound designers, I think it's like the perfect tool. It's like, what am I gonna do here? What am I gonna do here? And then filter stuff. And the reason why I like this is like there's happy accidents that happen that you won't normally get when you're just trying to go per page and be like very scientific. So a lot of different approaches of making dope sounds.
Yeah, or sometimes you just like to, I love that it's per page, because sometimes I'm just like, I don't really care what's gonna happen here, but I need a little like, so the ability to just be like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh, there it is, you know, like, oh, that's great. Exactly. I love that so much. Tight. That just made me so happy. I'm so excited. There's like a random button. Oh man, everything needs a random button.
Yes.
Effects track stuff, man. So with my playing, I mean, in 5 minutes, you just like opened my mind about using the effects track for like momentary things, or like my mind immediately went to like the 404, like all the filter tricks I do with that, where it's like a momentary, like, you know, just a duck for the filter and everything.
Kind of thing, exactly.
But yeah, you can do all of that with this. And then you can mute, when in my playing around, I found you can mute
the effects track,
the effects track as well.
So you could use it as like a mix bus and really quick for, muting something if you need to get there pretty quick. And a great thing about the effects track, it saves per pattern. So, you know, if you could do the same tricks where you're like, I like this pattern, copy this, paste over here. It's kind of like having scenes in the Octatrack. So like different. It's not exactly the same, but you get the kind of same idea. It's like, I want to high pass all my tracks on this one, or I want this one to just be all reverbed out. No, absolutely. And then, on top of all of the goodness that comes with this, being able to, being able to finally have LFO control over the delay and everything is just absolutely super dope. And something else that I just found out with that, because now you have the effects track, if you go to your delay settings page, these are actually parameter lockable. So now I could parameter lock my delay time per step or anything, change the turn off ping pong right here, go to my reverb, go very long, decay. So this effects track really does add a whole nother layer, a different dimension of affecting your actual sound. And you're dealing with audio now, so it gets a lot more interesting versus dealing with when you're on a track, you're changing parameters of the synthesis. So it gets, you get some really interesting results when messing around with that effects track.
That's so crazy. And then the effects track also, it operates under the same parameters that every other Elektron sequencer does. So you can do conditional trigs, you can change the length of the sequence, so you can make it like an odd number of steps, and just like make some like truly generative, really cool stuff that's going to affect everything. Well, whatever you want to
whatever you have, exactly. So you could get really quick where you have the modulation source sequence is off timing, so every time it's affecting and getting triggered, you're going to get these very generative stuff very quickly. And the ability to not only get that started, but then recall that, be like, I want to copy that and copy that over to the next pattern and just build up on that. It really unlocks a whole another level of production with this.
Dude, I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. I spent just a really small amount of time with the rhythm, and I know that there was a dual VCO engine in that, but this one seems like tons of bells and whistles have added. You've got the ring mod, the FM and the ring mod.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of improvements made, and one particular on this engine is that they improved the pitch tracking and the higher registers and added more fine tune here. So now you go up to 24, so you could have those tunings in between as well. And like the different configurations, not only you have improvements on the actual oscillators, but there are different shapes of the filter types as well. So that adds a whole nother thing of fresh new sound designing tools that you could use for those analog machines.
Absolutely crazy. The analog filter is also amazing.
Yes.
That was one of my like really interesting surprises is I saw the utility ones and I saw the noise and I was like, yeah, utility noise is great. And then impulse I saw and I was like, well, there's no CV outputs. And then I started hitting it and noticing that it was pinging the filter. So you crank the resonance on there. And the utility impulse quickly became like one of my favorite machines.
You get some really just filter self-oscillating happening. So you get some nice round kicks. You can get some toms in there if you want. And if you use parameter locks with it, you can get very creative with what's actually going on that track.
It's just so fun. And then you start throwing it through the reverb. I love setting the delay really, really low. So just you showing me that we can now parameter lock to the effects thing, I was just like,
to get some crazy stuff happening.
Ooh, buddy, it's on. But yeah, God, that is just so rad. I'm so excited to like I said, I've had this thing, like I've been able to play with it for 2 days now, so that comes out to like 6 hours of playtime. And I feel like I've just not even begun to scratch the surface of what this device is capable of.
Same with me. I'm always finding stuff out where I'm like, oh, what? I don't know it could do that. There's some cool, like I said before, like the voices machines being very wide of what they could do. So I catch myself going back to certain machines and just like pushing it to its limits. Let's see what it does. So like this one, for example, synth bits. I've been really interested in these just like 8-bit explosions and gun sounds and stuff. Like go like this, some weird stuff. Wait, why doesn't that do that?
Hell yeah, dude.
Get some weird stuff happening in there if you want.
There's a lot of really good stuff, and honestly, the digital synth engines have been blowing me away. The names are deceiving, like the ones like Toy and Bit, like that's just a super duper powerful digital oscillator.
Yep, definitely.
You know?
And then you start adding this like you think digital, you think very clean and crisp, but you get very.
Yeah, this has got 2 different ways to make it gritty: sample rate reduction and bit rate reduction. It's just gnarly,
Sit there
man.
for hours
yeah,
and just
for
make
real.
Sounds.
I feel like I'm gonna, man. I cannot wait.
That was what is it? Sexual healing. Because like I made the like 808 sound, but I was like I have to like I have to sequence a pattern so I can like A/B it, and then I was like it has a chord generator, so I just looked up the chords.
Oh, for real?
So so it's like this one is like a major, G sharp major. This is a D sharp major. So it's like if you know some music theory, you can get into that shit easy.
Which reminds me, as long as I've got you here now, so when you've got these little guys, do kids is that what that is? Children on the chord generator?
Ghosts. We'll call them ghosts.
Ghosts?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So when you got the ghosts with the hats, are those an octave up?
Yeah, so what it does, it's making inversions of the chord.
Okay.
And what it's doing is it's changing the operator's ratios, but mixing them in to create that chord. So when you're on like here,
I thought it was a much more like note representation of like this was
that's
like
the octaves
like
there,
that was like changing to like a black note, like a pentatonic or something, and
so it's like when you're all the way on the bottom, it's just like the root note.
Yeah.
And then you start introducing the third, and the fifth,
and the fourth,
and then the third goes down an octave.
Okay.
So it's like it's basically doing those inversions of like
so
it's changing
inversions.
it. But it's doing
so it's first and second. I was like thinking that it was like trying to represent a keyboard a lot more type of thing. Which makes a lot more sense.
This is basically like wavetable. Changing the waveform of the operators.
Yep. Which was the one that I was using a lot.
The bits, I think maybe. That one had the waveform on there too.
Was it the Toy? Yeah, Toy
one's
was
tight.
really good, and
That's,
then yeah,
like
Bits was the one that I was using.
That's like physical modeling.
That has
kind of.
another like really yeah. This wavetable is very nice.
Yeah.
And like shockingly representative of the actual wave that's coming
Yeah, what's
out,
coming
which
out,
I was
yeah.
like, you know, usually you see, because I'm so used to like Eurorack shit,
Yeah.
where like, you know, you see
see
these,
that, yeah.
you see representations like this all the time, but
And
then
it's
it's
just
like
like
what's coming out is like, you know, and you're like, that doesn't look anything like a saw wave, you know? All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is just, you know, after the first 48 hours of playing around with this thing, and we're mad excited to play around with it.
Yes, there is just so much time that we could put in a few of our favorite features, but you know, let us know what you want us to cover and check you out next time.
We will definitely be, well,
time.
we'll be back. Let's just keep saying stuff, and Aaron will cut the good ones together. But we'll be back with a whole bunch more syntactics for you in the future, I'm sure. But till next time, I'm Wes from Perfect Circuit.
I'm Ari from Elektron.
Make sure to like, subscribe, check the description, and we'll check you later.
Syntastic.
Syntastic! Yes, there it is.